Hey there, it's Teacher Elizabeth with another art tutorial for you this week. Today we're going to do some simple one-point perspective and learn how we can draw by using basic geometric shapes. The paintings you are viewing now all utilize one-point perspective and shapes as building blocks for these masterful works of art. So let's get started. The title of this tutorial is Simple Shapes for Big Ideas. But before we get started, I need to go through the art supplies with you. Pencil, paper, colored pencil, and a ruler. Today, everyone's project is going to be a little bit different. In this example, you will see the basic structure we will all use, but you will choose different colors and add different details. Here is a list of the 5 basic shapes we will be using today. Before we begin the final project, we need to take this first step for you to learn how to draw a bird. The first thing you're going to draw is that long rectangle with the circle on the end for the perch. After that, we're going to go for a big oval for the body and a circle for the head. Then we're going to add a rounded triangle for the beak and a rounded triangle for the crest on top of the head. Please pause the video to take this step. Next, you're going to draw a series of overlapping ovals that are going to represent the wing and the feathers. Please pause the video for this step. We are going for the legs next. You're going to use a square and 2 skinny rectangles to represent the upper part of the leg and the lower parts of the leg. Then we'll just use line wrapping around the perch to indicate the feet. These shapes combined create the structure for the bird, and now we're going to add details. The first detail I'm going to go for is the back of the head and then the crest on top of the head. After that, I started indicating the black patch around the face and the eye and the beak. Please continually look at the photo to the right to get an idea of where things should be placed. I want you to refer to the photograph to the right as a reference, but I don't want you to feel like you have to match it perfectly. All right, I'm moving on to the patch of the face and the belly of the bird. The belly of the bird is going to be very round. And now I'm going for the back of the head and the outer feathers. I'm just adding very minor details. This is a practice run for when you draw the bird on the final project. So this is just an exercise. Please don't get into a lot of detail right now. With this bird, I decided I wanted a few more feathers and a little more detail on the legs and the feet. Please think of this drawing as a study. You're just learning how to do it, so don't worry about being perfect. Okay, now it's time to start the final project. I need you to draw a horizon line at the upper part of your paper. I went ahead and measured down 2 inches. After you draw the horizon line, you draw a vanishing point off to the far left. That's just that dot that I drew. Now what I'm doing is just drawing a square. I went ahead and measured my square 3 inches by 3 inches, but you could do it freehand. Next, you're going to draw a triangle, and where I'm holding my pencil right now is the top of the triangle. It lines up with the center of the square. I draw 2 diagonal lines to that point, and I have my triangle. Next, you're going to create diagonal lines from the bottom left corner of the square and the top left corner of the square to line up with the vanishing point. You're going to draw another diagonal line from the top of the triangle to the vanishing point. Next, I'm going to connect the first 2 diagonal lines with a vertical line to create the side of the bird feeder. And the next thing I need to do is make the triangle a pyramid and erase all those extra lines. Now it's time to create the opening to the bird feeder and the perch. Line up the perch that you're drawing with the vanishing point. So it's a rectangle with a circle on the end of it, but you draw it with the ruler lined up with the vanishing point. That'll make it in perspective. Next, I'm drawing the pole that the bird feeder sits on. I draw a center line first and 2 lines around it and then erase the center. Now we're going to draw the bird that we've already practiced. We draw the oval first, then we draw the circle overlapping the oval. Then we're going to go for the crest on top of the head, which is a triangle shape, the beak, which is also a triangle shape. Then we're going to move to the patch that's around the eye and neck. Next, we're going to draw the feathers and the wing using narrow overlapping oval shapes. Some of the shapes will be longer, some of them will be shorter. After that, I draw the little box with the line and then the claws that wrap around the perch. And using a simple circle, I'm going to make the eye. I'm going to add details like I did on the other one, making the belly more round, connecting the head and body together, and some of the feathers. Keep it pretty simple because we're just going to add color later. All right, this next step is optional. What I'm showing you here is more detailed versions of these birdhouses that you could adopt for your own personalized style. I'm going to keep mine fairly simple to make it a little faster, so I'm creating a frame around the entire bird feeder. So up over the top of the triangle, the side of the bird feeder, as well as the bottom half. I'm just creating a frame around each one of those lines I've already drawn. Using those pictures in the previous slide, you can get some ideas of what kind of decoration you could make on your bird feeder to make it different from somebody else's. I'm shading in the center of the opening so that we can see the separation between the bird and the opening. I finished off that back edge. I'm going to add a window up here. Make it a little decorative by creating a frame around the window. And after that, I'm just going to create a band that starts from the left and wraps around to the front, just as a little piece of decoration on the bird feeder. Please feel free to add anything you want to make yours original. After you finish that, we're going to start with the background. You can decide just to add color if you want to, or you can draw something. For my background, I'm just doing a simple seascape with a sunrise. All right, time to start with color. Here I'm showing you how to create a transition of color. I started with the blue, then I went to the purple, now I'm adding red. You're going to notice that I overlap previous layers and then I come down a little further on the page with the pure color. You choose whichever colors you want, just get them to blend together by overlapping them in some areas to create a little bit of a transition of color. I went ahead and colored in the entire background. I want you to color in your background first, any way you want to. Then when it comes to the bird feeder, you color that in any way you want to. Just make sure everything in the background is colored in first, including the bird feeder, before you start the bird. Now it's time to start the bird. I want you to go for the darks first. So I'm starting with that black, coloring in anything that looks black to me from the picture that's to the left. Do not outline the whole bird in black though. Now it's time to start adding some of the red. I'm quickly adding it in all over the bird first, lighter in areas where I want a lighter red, and more layers of red where I want a darker red or a more saturated red. When I need it to be a lot darker, I start adding a little bit of that blue like I'm doing now. It's a great way to create a little bit of a shadow on the red without changing the color. I'm using the black for the feet. And then I'm going to take the green pencil again to fill in all those little white areas around the bird. I want you to color in your bird feeder different than mine, so I'm quickly just showing you some of the details that I've added. The best approach for adding color to a picture is to start with the background first and come forward. So I did the sky, I did the water, and then I colored in the bird feeder, and then I colored in the bird. But nothing is finished. You come back with a second pass to then add your details and get rid of all the white in the picture. You want to cover the white of the paper with the colored pencil. Now I'm adding more details, more red to the bird in the areas that I feel like need to be a little lighter, maybe some red and white like I'm doing now, maybe a little bit more saturated so it's more straight red. And then also still filling in that background behind the bird. So the bird feeder is considered the background behind the bird. So I'm making sure to cover all of the white of the paper on that bird feeder, because if you can get all the white of the paper covered, your picture will look more finished. Here's my finished version with more details. The more layers of that colored pencil you can get on the paper, the better your picture is going to look. So this is it. It's your turn. Please be creative. Come up with some new designs for the bird feeder as well as your background. Add some beautiful color and then send us a picture. We'd love to see it. Thank you so much for joining me today and have a wonderful day.